There once lived a lady by the name Ndanu who worked in an insurance firm with its head office in Nairobi as a secretary to the branch manager. Ndanu was married to a pleasant man known as Mena who worked in a microfinance organization as an operations manager. They lived happily as husband and wife and had one daughter whom they had named Njeri. Njeri attended a local primary school in Githara area where Mena lived with his family. Ndanu was loyal and devoted to her husband, and in spite of earning the same amount of money as her husband, she still treated him with respect. Very soon, a nasty event would shake their lives. One sunny Tuesday, the CEO of the microfinance company that Mena worked for summoned Mena to his office and questioned him over some matters. It was apparent that the microfinance institution had incurred losses due to some laxity which could only be attributed to Mena, and he had some explaining to do. Mena could not explain the inflated purchases that had been made in his name, and he lost the case that had been lodged against him. He was soon suspended and placed on half pay for 6 months as his case was under investigation. The 6 months soon elapsed, and since the evidence against him was flimsy, he was reinstated, although the CEO and some of Mena's superiors at work thought he was really guilty. One day, after Mena had been reinstated, his assistant, who was envious of him, brought him some papers to sign and without even glancing at them, signed them hurriedly. The time was 2 minutes to 5 p.m. and not only was Mena exhausted, he was also eager to meet his beautiful and loving wife Ndanu. He hurriedly signed the papers and got into his officially issued car and was chauffeur-driven to his home in Githara. Little did he know that the papers he had signed would be his undoing, since they would implicate him in misappropriation of workplace funds. They would lead to his sacking, but he was unaware. The next day, he was called to the CEO's office and reprimanded over some irregular transfers of cash, with documents that bore his signature and initials testifying against him. It was decided that on Friday of the following week, the Board of Governors would meet to decide his fate. That evening he went home and upon entering his house, looked crestfallen. His wife Ndanu noticed and she urged her husband to share his woes with her. Mena narrated all that had happened as well as the imminent sacking, and Ndanu took him in her arms and comforted him, assuring him that she would stand by his side no matter what. Friday came and the Board of Governors of that microfinance institution met and decided to have Mena sacked in light of the 2 offenses that he had committed. Mena was sure that he had been falsely set up but had no way of proving it. He was dismissed and given 3 months' pay. Mena had to clear his items from his office and by 2 that afternoon was already home. Upon arrival at his residence, a depressed Mena soon fell asleep on the sofa, and it was his wife's Ndanu's gentle nudging that woke him. Mena narrated to his wife all that took place and how he was sacked, and his wife embraced him lovingly, reassuring him of her love towards him. That night, Mena and Ndanu made out in bed, and the next morning, Ndanu went to her workplace. At the workplace, she spoke to her boss, the branch manager, if he could find a spot for her husband, even if it was a job as an accountant, but the boss told her no vacancy was available for that moment. Time went by and one day, Ndanu approached her boss for a salary advance, and the boss told her to report to his office after 2 days. Ndanu had asked for the salary advance intending to help her husband set up a business. When the 2 days elapsed and time came for Ndanu to have her appointment with her boss, she went to his office as she had been directed. She found the boss seated behind his desk, and when she sat down on the seat opposite, the boss gave Ndanu a proposition. "Baby girl," he began whilst winking at her lustfully, "make me happy. I need your hot, succulent body. If you do, I will give you twice the amount of money you need for free." He then made as if to kiss her on the lips, but Ndanu shrieked with disgust and pushing him away, fled out of the door, protesting by saying that she was married. Upon going back to her office, which was adjacent to the branch manager's office, she confided in a female colleague who was also her close friend, a lady by the name Nanjala. Nanjala had herself been a victim of the boss's sexual harassment, but because she did not want to lose her job as a sales representative, she endured her boss's dirty whims. However, for Ndanu, she was firm and principled. She would remain loyal to her husband with or without money. Such women like her were rare. They planned with Nanjala to set a trap for the boss, and Nanjala soon came with a camera that could be planted in a vase in the boss's office. 2 days from the sexual harassment incident in her boss's office, Ndanu pretended to be apologetic and managed to convince the branch manager to set another appointment in which she would give him what he wanted. "Good girl," the boss told her, not knowing that it was a trap. That day, Ndanu went to the branch manager's office and the man began caressing her back while unbuttoning her blouse. Very soon, he shamelessly unzipped his trouser, oblivious to the secret device recording his picture that was strategically placed by Nanjala on the vase next to his desk. At this juncture, Ndanu shrieked in protest but in a low voice, threatening to scream if the boss did not stop, and at this point, Nanjala burst into the office and took some photos with her phone camera. The insurance firm for which they worked had a strong anti-sexual harassment policy, but Nanjala had been ignorant of this, and besides, she was not confident if her word would be believed over her boss's. The two women commanded the boss to sit down, at which point they presented their demands, a total of 600,000 Kenya shillings, failure to which they would send the video clip of the attempted rape and the still photos to the man's wife and board of governors of the insurance firm. The man instantly capitulated and wired the money to Ndanu's bank account, from where she sent Nanjala her rightful share of 300,000 shillings. That day Ndanu was all smiles as she went home to her husband. It was now 3 months since he had gotten the sack from the microfinance company he used to work for, and the following month, he got a job as an accountant in a high school. He worked at that job for 6 months and, together with the money his wife provided, started his own business. Meanwhile, Ndanu had resigned her job at the insurance company for another one as a secretary to the CEO of a non-governmental organization that sought to fight sexual harassment against women in East Africa. Maina's business did very well that he soon opened branches in 3 other towns in the country, with the head office located in Nairobi. He and his wife moved to Lang'ata area, where they lived happily ever after. Now, I pose a question to the ladies watching this video. How many of you, like Ndanu, would stand by their husbands even if the husband loses his job and rejects sexual advances by other men baiting them with money? Drop your comment below. Did you enjoy this video? Please click the link in the description box, like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.